Right now, communities across the entire globe are facing violent walls of flame and massive, highly destructive tornadoes. Over the last 72 hours, the global weather map lit up with synchronized extreme weather alerts as rapidly rising floodwaters swallow entire city blocks. Before we map out exactly where these hazards are striking, make sure you hit the subscribe button so you can stay ahead of these rapidly changing global weather patterns. What we're seeing right now is a departure from typical seasonal patterns. We are tracking a series of planetary extremes occurring simultaneously, yet each one represents a completely different type of hazard with almost no overlap. We begin in the United States, where a suffocating heat dome continues to grip the central and southern parts of the country. Forecasters expect southwestern zones to reach as high as 120 degrees, leaving roughly 40 million people trapped under extreme heat warnings. On the eastern edge of that exact same dome, a separate and equally violent severe storm corridor has been unfolding. Straight-line winds reaching 80 miles an hour just tore through South Dakota, while a confirmed tornado carved a path of major damage through Wisconsin. Moving south into Mexico, the national map splits cleanly in half. The north is baking under intense heat, pushing past 45 degrees Celsius, while the southern and central states are being battered by heavy rain, thunderstorms, and monsoon moisture. Looking at these coastal city blocks in Brazil, you can see the scale of the inundation triggered by a developing low-pressure system. A powerful cold front has triggered red alerts across Rio Grande do Sul, bringing intense rainfall and damaging winds topping 100 kilometers an hour. Across the Americas, populations are pinned between deeply divided, hyper-localized extremes, trapped between lethal, suffocating drought in one zone and severe, destructive deluges right next door. Across the Atlantic, the situation shifts entirely to fire. Europe is currently suffocating under its fourth major heat wave of the year, with temperatures in parts of the continent expected to climb past 40 degrees Celsius. Take a look at the sheer size of this smoke plume rising over the trees, completely dwarfing the onlookers. In France and Spain alone, massive wildfires have forced more than 300,000 people to evacuate or seek shelter as hundreds of firefighters battle the spreading flames. And as these flames spreading across a rocky, mountainous landscape show, this fire risk reaches far beyond southern Europe. This is Scotland's Cairngorms National Park, where a major wildfire required over 500 firefighters and 10 days to finally bring under control. Further east, sustained heat is dominating the Middle East. As this man relies on an industrial misting fan for brief physical relief, cities in Iraq and Kuwait are expecting highs to push 49 degrees Celsius through the end of the month. These repeated, unrelenting heat waves are preventing the environment from recovering. Across Europe and the Middle East, exhausted landscapes are now facing a cascading failure, where the ground is baked entirely dry before the previous disaster has even fully ended. Looking at this massive, highly organized cyclone eye over the ocean, we can see the power of the weather systems paralyzing Asia. This is Typhoon Noel, which packed sustained winds around 162 kilometers an hour before making landfall in China. The storm triggered a massive 700,000-person evacuation in Guangdong. Moving inland, you can see the results of these rains in Gansu province, where a path of mud and debris has cut straight through the urban infrastructure. In South Asia, a deep monsoon depression is generating similar devastation. With red alerts active across 20 Indian states, women and families are now forced to navigate waist-deep floodwaters through tight residential alleys, while landslides have stranded millions in neighboring Bangladesh. The human displacement is massive. Here in Pakistan, families are wading through deep flowing water, carrying whatever belongings they can save. The national death toll has already climbed past 100, primarily from structural and roof collapses under the weight of the rainfall. In densely populated regions like these, historical infrastructure simply cannot handle this volume of water. The systems are failing under the weight of compounded extreme precipitation events. You might expect the deep winter season in the southern hemisphere to offer a reprieve from this extreme weather. It hasn't. In South Africa, coastal cities are enduring sudden, heavy downpours, while at the exact same time, deep snow is blanketing highways and stranding vehicles along the border of Lesotho. In Australia, the unseasonal anomalies continue. Despite being in the depths of winter, a single storm system just dumped Adelaide's entire monthly rainfall average for July in one event. The traditional safety of the off-season is disappearing. Vulnerable areas are losing their dry or temperate recovery periods entirely. When we pull back and look at these massive cloud bands stretching across the Pacific, we see the planetary scale of what we're dealing with. Typhoons, mountain snow, massive wildfires, and lethal heat domes are happening simultaneously. Driving this synchronized chaos is a powerful overarching mechanism, a strengthening El Niño climate pattern. As a massive pool of warm water expands eastward across the Pacific, it warps baseline temperatures and disrupts normal atmospheric circulation, shifting global jet streams. El Niño acts as a planetary threat multiplier, supercharging localized systems and intensifying heat and storms across continents. As these global drivers supercharge localized events, the concept of a stable weather season is changing. In this environment, preparedness is becoming a year-round requirement. For continuing updates on these shifting patterns, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.